ramen soup, I'm going to make a spicy alligator miso ramen soup. That's right, spicy alligator miso ramen. The alligator or crocodile even that grabs its prey and drags it down to the bottom of the swamp, rolling it over and over again, taking it to the bottom until that meat gets soft enough to eat. Okay, so tonight I'm going to use a little Cajun food. I'm going to use some alligator sirloin to make us some spicy alligator miso soup. So as usual with YouTube, unlimited minutes. Let's get going and I'll see you on the other side. Okay guys, what I have right here is about 1.5 pounds of alligator sirloin. This stuff is lean and mean protein, okay? This stuff is really excellent, okay? Now I'm just going to fry that up in a little bit of ghee, okay? And here's a little bit of salt. And here's a little bit of black pepper, okay? And that's all, okay? I'm going to cook this stuff up in the salt and black pepper, and that's all, okay? It's going to take about 5 minutes, okay? Maybe 6, okay? You could use peanut oil, you could use sesame oil. I wouldn't use olive oil. It's not the kind of oil for an Asian dish, okay? But I'm using some ghee because ghee is neutral, and because I'm going to be using ghee to saute the cabbage that I'm going to add to this soup, okay? So you can call this spicy alligator miso ramen, or you can call this swamp monster ramen. I don't care what you call it. All I call it is delicious, man. This here alligator meat from Louisiana, this here stuff is bitchin', okay? So I'm going to cook this up another 5 or 6 minutes, and then we're going to move on to the next step. Alright, so you see how this gator meat is browned up? That's what we're looking for. So I'm going to take this gator meat off the heat, and we're going to move on to the next step. Okay, guys. Okay, guys. The next step is to make our ramen soup stock. This here is kombu, dashi kombu, seaweed. It's a rather thick, leathery seaweed that you get at the Asian market. This is about an 8-inch sheet that you drop into the water, and about 15 to 20 grams of bonito, okay, which is slivered tuna, okay, to make the stock for this recipe, okay. Now, I'm going to bring this up to a boil, and then to a simmer, and then I'm going to strain this, okay. Now, okay guys, so I've strained the dashi kombu and the bonito flakes out of the stock, and all I'm left with is this nice, rich, oceanic smelling stock. Okay, now this usually doesn't go into ramen, but I'm going to add 1 clove, okay, of finely diced, actually finely minced garlic, okay, into this stock. Okay, this is not standard, okay, in this kind of stock, but I'm adding it, okay. And I'm going to bring this back up to the simmer again, and then when it begins to simmer, I'm going to add my mushrooms and alligator meat, and lo and behold, there it is. It's beginning to simmer. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my mushrooms. These are oyster mushrooms, okay? These are delicious, okay? And I'm going to add the alligator meat, okay? And I'm going to stir this up, okay? And I'm going to bring this to a simmer and let the flavors of the mushrooms and the alligator impart themselves into this stock. and then I'm going to move on to preparing some of the toppings for this ramen soup. So hang on tight. Okay, now, my oyster mushrooms and my alligator meat are warmed through in this simmering liquid, okay? I'm bringing it to the slightest of simmer. Now, some people like to take their shiro miso and strain it through a strainer. What I like to do is I like to take a little bit of the stock, okay, and put it in a bowl and then mix it in to my miso mixture and then add that into the soup. Now, I am not using shiro miso, which is generally what is called for in spicy miso ramen. Instead, I'm using doenjang Korean soybean paste. I'm using the doenjang because it's brown, it's smelly, it has a lot of fermented fish, and it helps turn this stock into a murky brown stock, not much different than the environment that an alligator or crocodile uses when it hunts its prey. An alligator or crocodile, when it hunts its prey, it waits for the prey to come up to the shoreline, okay? And then it snags the prey and it rolls it over and over and over again until the prey drowns. Now, once the prey drowns, the alligator or crocodile takes that prey to the bottom of the swamp and lodges it someplace to allow the meat, there we go, to allow the meat to soften up for a few days before the alligator or crocodile decides to eat. And that is why I'm using doenjang, brown Korean soybean paste, instead of white shiro miso. Like I said, I'm going to blend a couple of cultures here. There's also a little sesame oil in there, okay? Now I'm going to let this simmer, and then we're going to move on to adding some of the toppings. Okay guys, so right now in about 2 tablespoons of ghee, I am browning up some cabbage for the soup. It's just going to be one of the toppings. You want to brown it up and you want to keep it crispy. You don't want it too wilted. It takes about 2 to 3 minutes, and we're right about there right now. I'm going to take this off the heat and we're going to add some heat to the soup. Okay guys, now I have the soup at the very slightest of simmer. You don't want to go beyond the very slightest of simmer because doenjang has lots and lots of probiotics, good for the digestion. But I said we're making spicy alligator miso ramen, and here we have chili paste with soybean oil, and this is going to be quite hot, okay? If you don't like it as hot as I do, you don't have to make it as hot as I do, okay? But what I'm using here, you can use shisen tobenjan if you can find it. Unfortunately, the market where I go didn't have any Japanese red chili paste with broad bean. So what I did was I took some sambal olek, which is Indonesian, and I mixed it with a little bit of doenjang, soybean paste, and a little bit of sesame oil for the heat, okay? And it will make this nice and, oh yeah, nice and spicy. So I'm going to let this simmer for about 5 minutes, and we're going to move on to the next step of decorating. Soup's on. Okay guys, so soup's on. Okay, so what I'm going to do first is I'm going to ladle in the soup. I want my alligator meat right there in the center, along with some of the mushrooms. Okay, here we go. There we go. There we go. I want that alligator right there. There we go. Right in the center. Okay. Right in the center. Okay. And get some of that broth in there. Spicy ramen broth. The mushrooms. The chilies. Nice and murky. Just like the swamp that the alligator lives in. There we go. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Nice and murky. Nice and spicy. There we go. All right. And to that, I'm going to add some hard-boiled egg. Okay? And also to that, we are going to add some cabbage. There we go. Just a little bit of cabbage. Delicious. This is Japanese fish cake. Naru tamaki. Okay? Japanese fish cake. Naru tamaki. All right. Now, a lot of people put corn kernels in this. Okay? I'm not a big fan of corn kernels in my soup, but I do like baby corn. So, I'm going to put some baby corn. Okay? And some scallion greens. Okay? And some scallion greens. Got to go for the scallion greens. Okay? A little bit of soy sauce. Okay? A little bit of soy sauce. And for the richness of the broth, a little bit of butter. Oh yeah. A little bit of butter. This is going to add some richness to the broth and some wonderful flavor. And there we are. A big, big bowl of spicy alligator ramen soup. I hope you make this recipe. I know you'll love it. And you know what? I'm going to put right here little piece of nori. There we go. Okay. So like I said, what we got here is a really nice big bowl of spicy alligator ramen soup. I hope you make this recipe soon. I know you'll love it. It's really gamey, and I want to thank you for stopping by. I'll see you on the next video. Take care. Hey guys, Richard Blaine here. Thanks for stopping by my Easy Cooking channel tonight. I hope you enjoyed this video. Spicy alligator ramen miso soup. This is going to be delicious. I am so looking forward to digging into that bowl of soup. It's ridiculous. Okay, I hope you make this. I hope you can find some alligator meat in your neighborhood. If you can't, you could use any kind of meat you want, but the alligator is really a delicious treat, a gamey treat, and so